Hi, my name is Ira Monco. I'm a sales engineer specialist at UiPath, and in this series, we're going to be talking about process mining, more specifically, how it works. Typically, when we think about process transformation and automation, we start to think about, well, how are the processes run? More specifically, how are all the different variations of that process run? Historically, this was accomplished by performing user mapping sessions, workshops, where you would sit in front of a whiteboard for hours, days, weeks, maybe even months, attempting to draw out all of the different variations that a process may take. Fortunately, with process mining, we're able to use the data that's already being inputted into your systems. We can take all of that data that is being stored in your databases and log files, and by simply pulling out three fields, the activity, when that activity occurred, and how each of the activities roll up to a common case, we're able to create what's called a process graph. Process graph lets us see all of the variations that a process may go through. We understand the sequence of activities. We also understand the time span between those activities. Let's take a closer look at why that's important. The textbook process, or the happy path, is generally what the organization would like to see all processes go through. Well, we know as we start to dig in a little bit, people know about different variations and can describe those. However, in actuality, when you look at 100% of the data, you end up with what appears to be a plate of spaghetti, and it's difficult to discern exactly what's going on. That's where process mining comes in. It's your process x-ray. It gives you 100% transparency into all of the cases that are going through your system. This helps you realize 50 to 70% savings in time and money as compared to doing this through a workshop. More importantly, it's repeatable. It's a two-phase approach. Phase one, you discover your processes and where there may be areas of improvement. But perhaps more importantly, phase two is after you make some of those changes, there could be downstream impacts. Well, once you already have process mining mapped, you'll be able to take a look at those. There are three steps to process mine. First, we read all of the data related to your processes. Then we transform that data into an event log. And finally, we're able to visualize the end-to-end process. The process mining components consist of your data source. That gets fed into a connector, which is the ETL process. A data engineer is typically the person that works on this. They understand where the data exists and they have access to it. As they work on it, they're able to add all their changes to source control. And once they're satisfied, they promote that into the application development, where a business analyst will work on the business intelligence portion of it. These are the dashboards. When they're satisfied, they're able to promote it into a web environment, which all of your users are able to access the dashboards. This is an example of what the final product looks like. Here, we're taking a look at our purchase to pay discovery accelerator using our sample data. At the very top, first thing you can do is select the date range for the data that you want to view. Right now, we're looking at all the data, which represents almost 40,000 purchase order items. And within those purchase order items, there are over 400,000 events. We also have KPIs which help us see what the total item value is. We have some high-level metrics to tell you things like average throughput time, automation rate, late delivery rate, the percentage of Maverick buying, and what was the total Maverick buying value. If we go to our end-to-end process, we can see our process graph. Pulling the detail slider all the way down, we can see our happy path, and then slowly walk up to see each of the variations. Within our event analysis dashboard, we can change the fields that we're looking at. Right now it's activity, but perhaps we'd like to see it by company. We can also change what metrics we're looking at. Number of items, average number of events, event cycle time, and average throughput time. We can also filter on metrics. Whenever we have a filter defined, we can always come into process data to see the underlying records. In addition to single filters, we have the ability to run a compare filter, which allows us to set two different scenarios and contrast the values. Perhaps we want to be able to see the difference between certain activities. With the filter set, you can now take a look at the KPI, the difference, and any of the graphs or charts. With a filter set, we can also come into our root cause analysis and see the significant influencers. And finally, we can also calculate automation potential for each of the activities by simply coming in here and simulating based on the number of ways to complete the process, the percent of digital input, and the percent of structured digital input. This will describe if we were to automate, what would the potential benefit be? Thank you. For more information, visit uipath.com process-mining.